All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Test, test. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. I need confirmation that I am heard. Fleetus and I were having some back and forth comments. Whoa. All right, let's stop that. All right. So that was the rotating mask illusion. It's something that has stuck with me for a while because I don't know if you noticed, but it reveals that your mind plays a trick on you. And I am going to open this up for people to hop in, but this morning my daughter, she was looking, lovely product placement. She was looking at this and she's like, they messed up on that A. And I'm just like, well, how do you know it's an A? And so it reminded me that our brains are powerful. We see patterns that will fill in the gaps, and there are gaps where we will have blind spots. So it just got me going down a path. And so I have, I have like 6 tabs to show that have different experiments, which will highlight some of the things about our minds that we can pay attention to. I'm going to play the first one, and then I'll just drop a link, and people can chat if they want to, or I'll just chat by myself and play these videos. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and drop a link, and then no, I'm going to play the first one. Here we go. So the first one is the selective attention test. This is the gorilla in the room. So let's see, present. Stop screen, present, share screen. It's almost like I don't know what I'm doing. Imagine that. So this is the selective attention test. And also as I go through these, maybe pay attention to the channels if you're interested in this stuff. The title of this is called Defense Against the Dark Arts. Let's say, dark arts are like the things that are happening that we don't easily notice or recognize. And there are people who can use knowledge of our minds and what our minds do in order to do some kind of mind control. And sometimes we're doing it intentionally, and sometimes we're doing it unintentionally. And just the fact that I'm speaking words, Grimgrows and Chad would tell you the fact that I'm speaking words is just, there's a lot of words you could use to describe the power of words. But here we go. Let's see if you can.
This is a test of selective attention.
Let me know if you can hear this or if you can't.
Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball.
So it's interesting that there's people with black shirts and people with white shirts, which I think is planned by, a dark magician, because your mind, you can basically tell your mind to really just focus on the white shirts and ignore the black shirts. And it just so happens that a creature walks through that is.
How many passes did you count?
So you're doing this task-oriented thing.
The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla?
Did you see the gorilla? And so, we can actually prepare our minds to pay attention to the white shirts, ignore the black shirts, and then our mind will actually not even see the gorilla that walks through the room.
This video is from research by Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris and is copyrighted.
Oh, it's copyrighted. Uh-oh. Whoops. I just found out. This video is from research by Daniel Simons. I guess we might get hit. Let me drop an invite link. Maybe I can promote it. I'm promoting his channel, saying go check it out. I'm subscribed. I liked it. I'll share a link to it. Advertising for Daniel. Here we go, Daniel. I'll share a link to that video as well. So now I just, this capacity for the mind to just tune out information and be blind is fascinating to me. And it's connected to some of these other experiments as well. I'm going to switch to the next tab. This one is called the Door Study, but it is connected to, let's see, what is called change blindness experiments. So let me share the Door Study. Let's see, present. Let's see, Roxco says, but not everyone misses the gorilla. That's right. That's interesting too, that not everyone misses the gorilla. And that's a point in all these experiments, is that there can be, some people who are the exception. Hey, Luke. Hey, Gregory. Let's present, share screen, the Door Study. So I'm sure we're already in the copyright questionable territory, but I've seen these kinds of studies before, change blindness experiments. The white-haired man is very task-focused right then. And then once you become task-focused, it can become impersonal. So to Luke's, personalist versus impersonalist, it's like our minds switch into task-oriented and then becomes blind to things, just like in the selective attention test that we just saw. In this test, you could imagine that the person trying to give instructions, I'm like, what am I doing? Am I trying to teach and give instructions now? Am I ignoring the people? It's like, maybe we can pay attention to this. There you go. Dang straight ignored. There was no images. Oh. I wasn't sharing, was I? Was I? Let's do it again. Let's see. Let's try it one more time. Make sure that y'all get this. There you go. So there it is. So you can see that this white-haired man, he's busy, he's task-oriented, just like I was. I was a little bit blind there. And he's, is he trying to get to know the home this fellow grew up in? Cue video.
Okay. Well, let's begin at the beginning. Tell me about when and where you grew up and what the faith life was like of the home you grew up in.
I don't know what you want me to say about myself, but
I usually do a lot of autobiography on this channel, so you can go all the way back to the home you grew up in. Well, this is how I begin. Tell me a little bit about yourself, maybe like the home you grew up in. back and let's do this randos thing properly.
Okay.
Tell me about the home you grew up in. I want to start with Simone. Okay. Simone, tell me about the house you grew up in. And
Right.
well, tell me about the home you grew up in. Well, tell me about the home you grew up in. So tell me
Yeah.
about the home you grew up in.
Yeah. So I'm
All right. So as you start trying to count the basketballs from the people who are in white shirts, or if you're trying to give directions, it's like it becomes a bit impersonal. And so becoming task oriented is really powerful. It's what I did most of my life. But there's a sacrifice when you do that. I'm going to share the link here again in case anyone wants to hop in, but I will move on to the next video. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. So Chad has seen this kind of a prank where the clerk behind the counter swaps out. It's amazing what we are blind to. It's good to remember that we're blind to things. And if you go to the start of this video, there was the hollow face, the rotating mask illusion. Like our brains are so powerful. So let's go to the next one. Maybe I'll get it right this time. And present. There's like 3 steps: share screen. And then the next one is the McGurk effect. And this is where I got the clever. So the AI automatically picked this out whenever I did Defense Against Dark Arts originally. But let's see. So in this one, let's just let this. Oh, I need to make sure I share it. Double check. Boom. McGurk effect.
Watch this experiment. It's called the McGurk effect.
Ba, 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 ba.
What do you think he's saying? If you think he's saying da, 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 you are in the grand majority. But now, close your eyes and listen instead of watching.
Ba, 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 ba.
The voice is saying ba, ba, ba. Now, let's replay it without the sound. Yes, it's true. His lips are saying ga, ga, ga. So how is it that when the lips are saying ga, 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 and the sound says ba, 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 that our brains read da, da, da? The McGurk effect. It's an example of an auditory illusion.
So you may not have heard exactly what he was saying, but you may have seen those kind of funny videos where, they play different text, and all of a sudden you hear them saying the words that you're reading, and that's what came to mind on this. And the point, I'll let him make the point. How about that? And so this one is Brain Rules book. You might want to check out Brain Rules book if you're interested in the mind and knowing about our blind spots to protect ourselves against those who would use our blindness against us and cause us to stumble.
It's a great way to show that the accurate perception of information can involve the participation of more than one sensory system. In this case, vision with sound. We call it multimodal perception. The McGurk effect. It's a terrific example of the fact that the senses did not evolve in isolation from each other, but actually work together to help us perceive our world.
It also reminds me of the people who are born with without vision, and maybe your other senses change and adapt. It's pretty interesting. All right. Yeah. Chad didn't hear any of that. And Roxco heard ba, ba, ba. I did hear ba, ba, ba. The first time I heard it, I thought it was tha, 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 until I press these things in my ears because I can't hear very well. The dress is blue. It's like the lady in the red dress in the Matrix scene. I don't know. That's what comes to mind when you ask that question. Whenever Neo is asked this thing. Or were you paying attention to the lady in the red dress? All right. So the next one, I'm going to stop sharing. And you're all welcome to, well, I don't think all of you are welcome. I apologize if you're not welcome, but the link should be there. The next one is going to be called, the title is How Fast Is Your Brain? It's called the Stroop Test. I thought this one was really interesting to me. The Stroop Test. Let me present. Where are you? There it is. And share. So this is the Stroop Test. Mindful Thanks is the YouTube channel. So you'll get a word like this, and you have to say the color of the word. So when you see this word, you need to say red. And when you see this one, you say pink. Make sense? I'll let you do it. It's kind of interesting what happens when you try to do this. How fast is your brain? Black, purple, now that one got me. Right. So they get going faster, and you can check it out. But this one, let's see, the Stroop effect. You're asked to name the color of the ink. The task illustrates the difficulty of overriding automatic processes such as reading, showing the brain's predisposition to certain types of information processing. And this is, I think this is connected to the to like baked in biases. And so it actually takes effort to do some things. And what would come naturally, your gut instinct is, can be deceptive. It can be misleading. So that's the Stroop effect. The next one, what's the next one? The next one I'm going to go to is the Asch conformity experiment. And the Asch conformity experiment was one that I remember Eric Weinstein pointing out, saying, that we should select for people who passed the Asch conformity experiment. Shout out to Raxco as well for talking about how there are exceptions to these things, to the way people's minds behave. But let me check out the hive mind. Hey, Gigi and I have similar brains. Imagine that. Oh, look at that. Worthy of the title. Thank you, Gigi. Be sure and do link bibliography in the description then. That makes sense. Oh, I got a text. There should be a Stroop test where everything is false. And easier to get links from Discord to stream than from the text to stream. So, oh yeah, that makes sense. Let me share the Asch conformity. Share screen. Where are you, Asch conformity? There it is. And I need to share again. Boom, boom.
But an experiment is not a public opinion poll. It examines behavior under the pressure of social forces, as the experiment of Solomon Asch reveals.
The experiment you'll be taking part in today involves the perception of lengths of lines. As you can see here, I have a number of cards, and on each card there are several lines. Your task is a very simple one. You're to look at the line on the left and determine which of the three lines on the right is equal to it in length. All right, we'll proceed in this order. You'll give your answer.
Only one of the people in the group is a real subject, the fifth person with the white t-shirt.
Okay.
The others are confederates of the experimenter and have been told to give wrong answers on some of the trials. The experiment begins uneventfully as subjects give their judgments.
2, 2, 2, 2,
2,
3, 3, 3,
3.
But on the third trial, something happens.
2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
The subject denies the evidence of his own eyes and yields to group influence.
1.
Ash found subjects went along with the group on 37% of the critical trials. But he found through interviews that they went along with the group for different reasons.
So this is something to keep an eye on. It's also, it lets you know about the power of collaborators and conspirators to shape perception. And I mean, this kind of stuff can be used for good or bad as well. It's like, it just depends on what you're aiming at. So, you know, if we're aiming at caring for people, you know, maybe it's a good thing. And then but if we're, you know, part of an agency which is aiming to make everyone like scared of each other and not care for each other, then, you know, that's in my book, that's a bad thing. Let's see, that one triggered the memory of the Milgram experiment. And so I wasn't planning on doing this one, but I'll do the Milgram experiment next, because like our willingness to like cause harm to others because of an authority figure. Ooh, let's look at that one. Oh, need to subscribe and like.
A decade earlier, psychologist Stanley Milgram had also looked at how we respond to authority. In order to understand how people were induced to obey unjust regimes and participate in atrocities such as the Holocaust, he set up an experiment. Volunteers were told they were taking part in scientific research to improve memory.
Would you open those and tell me which of you is which, please? Teacher. Learn. Teacher.
Separated by a screen, the teacher would ask the learner questions in a word game.
Separated by a screen. Is that the world we're in?
And administer an electric shock when the answer was incorrect. He was told to increase the voltage with each wrong answer.
Cloud. Horse. Rock. House. Answer. Wrong. 150 volts. Answer. Horse.
Experiment. That's all. Get me out of here. Get me out of here.
Get me out of here.
Go right on.
I refuse to go on. Let me out.
The experiment requires you continue, teacher. Please continue.
Participants didn't know that the learner was really an actor and the so-called shocks harmless.
You're gonna get a shock. 180 volts.
I can't stand the pain. Let me out of
Can't
here.
stand it. I'm not gonna kill that man, eh? I mean, who's gonna take the responsibility if anything happens to that gentleman? I'm responsible for anything that happens here. Continue, please. All right, next one. Slow. Walk, dance, truck, music.
Two-thirds of volunteers were prepared to administer a potentially fatal electric shock when encouraged to do so by what they perceived as a legitimate authority figure. In this case, a man in a white coat.
There you go, people. Beware of the man in the white coat. You might be, and 2/3 of the people. That one also triggered memories of the Zimbardo prison experiment, where you ended up with people who ended up being the prison guards and the prisoners, and it got pretty bad. They had to stop the experiment. So not only do people tend to obey authority, but then also people tend to abuse authority as well. So you really got to be careful with this authority business, giving people authority. It's tricky. I'm let's see. There was one thing I thought was cool. It's related. It talked about just some breaking bias. It showed an exercise that I thought it was important. I just want to show it. Let's see. Present, share screen. Unlearning. How can we do unlearning? Well, it's going to take effort, it seems like.
We're going to place a sticker on your forehead. In complete silence, stand up and group yourself. Okay, are we grouped? Yeah, for the most part? All right, what just happened?
There's 2 people alone that is not in our group.
So there's 2 people that you've identified that's not in our group. For the folks who are in green or in orange, how did it feel to do this?
I felt sort of like I had no control over it, yeah.
Yeah, so you felt like you had no control over it, yeah.
I personally think it was more comfortable to be in a big group than to be like in a group alone.
For my 2 folks in the back, how did it feel for you to do this?
It was weird. I was like, I don't know what part I was, like which group I was with.
I guess it was okay.
Did anyone attempt or try to bring them into their group?
I thought about it.
You thought about it.
I sent him away.
She did! I didn't do that! I wanted him to be here. I don't like people being alone.
It's interesting, right? Because I never asked anybody to group themselves by color. I just said to group yourselves.
Boom. Boom. He didn't ask them to group themselves by color. It's amazing. It's like we have these automatic assumptions, prejudices. Like, what kind of person would have said, hey, what kind of people would have noticed that? What kind of people would have like stood their ground and have been confrontational? What if a fight broke out? There's a very interesting. So I'm going to, let's see what time it is. I'm going to put out an invite link one more time, and may or may not work for you, but give it a shot. This is I do not have a shadow cabal. My handler for the StreamYard is Jacob Facciarecci, and that's why I'm streaming to Facciarecci as well. And so he helps control who is and is not allowed here. So I apologize if you're not allowed. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So I do have one more video I want to end on that's a little bit fun. What do we do about all this stuff? What do we do about I like the Alan Watts quote, and maybe it's a quote of a quote. A lot of times this is what's happening. And then it's kind of, the mind is blind to where ideas and come from originally. And some people receive credit, some names stick, some definitions stick. But Alan Watts, I heard him say, the mind is I'm going to misquote it. I could find it. The mind is a useful servant and a terrible master. And so it's good that we attempt to practice. It seems to me we have to practice holding something above. So when we go into task-oriented mode, we have to learn to practice stepping back, caring for people, the personal. It's good to become impersonal with task, but it's also good to be capable of switching to become personal. And then if you ever get stuck in these modes, then it can be bad. And so there has to be some higher ordering kind of, for me, it's care, caring for people. And so sometimes you need to do tasks to care, and sometimes you need to make sure you're not caring too much about tasks. But I'm going to end this pretty soon. I'm going to end with just a fun little video shout out and invitation. If you want to, maybe a couple of things. So here's one. This was not created by me, but it was shared with me, and I want to say thank you. So, and I would say your name if you want me to say your name, but Yeah, but I know that. Oh yeah, I'm grateful. So here goes.
Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. That evening, all of his neighbors came around to commiserate. They said, "We are so sorry to hear your horse has run away. This is most unfortunate." The farmer said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back, bringing 7 wild horses with it. And in the evening, everybody came back and said, "Oh, isn't that lucky? What a great turn of events. You now have 8 horses." The farmer again said, "Maybe." The following day, his son tried to break one of the horses, and while riding it, he was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbors then said, "Oh dear, that's too bad." And the farmer responded, "Maybe." The next day, the conscription officer came around to conscript people into the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. Again, all the neighbors came around and said, "Isn't that great?" Again, he said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature, okay, it keeps going.
Hello. Someone hopped in. David. Maybe not a good connection. I'll play this kind of last thing for fun. Let's see. I'll put you back on once your camera's working, David. Let's see.
I don't know about the meaning crisis, left, right, black, white, or other vices, which Jesus Christ is right, or if we're all saved. From my perspective, our propositions participate procedurally, running in circles. Remember, everybody, we're in the age of decay. Symbolically speaking, the reaper's reaping, the egregores are whispering sweetly, all NPC in the belly of the beast. Red pill, blue pill, red pill, Mars Hill, DMT, whatever you feel. God 1 and number 2, it's all the same damn thing. So clean your room, repent on Zoom, ontology for dummies, bird's eye view. Cause if you really knew, could you really even say? Totally depraved, or totally saved, a total disposition from the bed we had made. Is it the elect or is it just insane? From Robert Bakey to Jonathan Peugeot, Jordan Peterson to the Chris Pagoo Show, Paul Maynard Clay, Griswold Grimm, and all the Darcy shapes. This estuary ditty is a little bit cringy, ain't quite the U-shape or the hero's journey. All the NPCs in the flood treading water to watch you save the day with a bunch of chitter chatter. From the Ortho Bros, Catholic Joes, Atheist Joes, Protestant folks, Jewish Jacobs, Joe Schmoes, and everything between. So love your Lord God with all your heart and your soul, all your mind, all your fingers and toes, all your neighbors too, as if they were your own. So love the Lord God with all your heart and soul, with all your mind, all your fingers and toes, neighbors too, as if they were your own.